The hardest part about watching your soulmate marry someone else isn't the wedding itself. It's realizing you're seeing it through a live stream at 2 a.m., eating ice cream in your pajamas. 3 time zones away from the man who once promised he'd wait forever. I'm sitting here in my Chicago apartment, staring at Marcus holding hands with a woman named Elena as they exchange vows on a sun-drenched California beach. And I can't stop the tears because I know I caused this. 5 years ago, Marcus Rodriguez was my everything. My college sweetheart, my best friend, the man who proposed under the stars on our senior spring break in Mexico, with a ring he'd saved for 6 months to afford. I said yes immediately, because I couldn't imagine loving anyone more. Couldn't picture a future without his laugh echoing through our shared apartment, without his disastrous cooking experiments triggering the smoke alarm. Then Goldman Sachs offered me a role in New York. Suddenly, the small-town life Marcus dreamed of in Bakersfield felt stifling instead of cozy. I convinced myself I was being practical when I asked him to delay the wedding for a year, so I could launch my career, insisting long distance would be easy because what we had was strong enough to survive anything. Marcus didn't resist. That should have been my first warning. He just smiled that sad, patient smile I'd grown to resent, saying he'd wait as long as I needed to be ready for our life together. When I packed for New York, he drove me to the airport and kissed me goodbye like it was a routine business trip, not the beginning of the end of everything we dreamed. The first year was bearable because I buried myself in work, earning praise, promotions, and a growing bank account. 16-hour days, constant travel, endless meetings. I told myself the ache in my chest whenever Marcus called was homesickness, not regret for choosing ambition over love. Marcus was patient. He called nightly despite the time difference, sent flowers for no reason, and visited whenever our schedules aligned. But slowly, I felt him pulling away. The disappointment in his voice when I canceled yet another visit. The way he stayed silent when our conversations ended abruptly because work couldn't wait. When the year ended, I panicked and asked for another extension, telling him I had to reach senior analyst before I could even consider returning. Marcus was quiet. Then, finally, his voice broke my chest with its calm resignation. How many years, Rachel? How many promotions, raises, milestones before you remember you used to want to marry me? I defended myself, arguing that I was building a future for both of us, that he'd understand if he truly loved me. My words came out harsher than intended, and I knew I crossed a line we couldn't uncross. He didn't hang up or yell. Instead, quietly, he said, "I do love you. That's why I'll keep waiting, even though I'm starting to realize you might never come home." That should have been the moment I flew to California. Should have been the time I chose love over ambition. Instead, I dove deeper into my career, convinced that Marcus' patience proved his love, believing I could have everything if I worked hard enough. I started casually dating others, telling myself it was just socializing, nothing serious, nothing to threaten us. The second year became the third, and Marcus' calls grew sparse. Visits stopped altogether, and I told myself distance made the intensity fade naturally. When he mentioned seeing someone else, jealousy spiked, but I buried it, reminded myself I was still his fiancé. Then, in year 4, Elena appeared in his life. From the shift in his voice, I knew she was different. No casual date to pass time, but someone who shared his passion for teaching, his vision of a quiet, family-centered life in Bakersfield. I should have been alarmed when Marcus stopped talking about her, but I felt relief instead. Not hearing about his love life made it easier to pretend nothing had changed. The wake-up call hit when Marcus' engagement post appeared on Facebook. Not to me, but to Elena Martinez, the woman wearing his grandmother's ring for 3 months while I remained oblivious. The photo was on the same beach where he first told me he loved me. Elena was radiant, peaceful, the happiness I hadn't felt in years. I called him immediately, demanding answers, accusing him of betrayal. His response was calm, final. "Rachel, we haven't spoken in 4 months. You moved across the country 5 years ago and keep finding excuses not to return. I can't wait forever for someone who doesn't want to be with me." I tried arguing that I planned to come back, that my career success was for us, that he was giving up too easily. But Marcus cut me off gently, in a way worse than anger. You made your choice every day for 5 years. Now I'm making mine. The wedding planning was swift. Marcus and Elena wanted a small ceremony before the school year. I obsessively followed every detail through mutual friends, Elena's social media, and news posts. I told myself I was just curious. But the truth was I couldn't bear to accept that Marcus could be happy without me. Elena was everything I wasn't, warm where I was ambitious, present where I was constantly traveling, content with simplicity where I craved growth and stimulation. Photos showed Marcus laughing with her, working in their garden, coaching kids, living the life he begged me to share for years. I tried serious dating for the first time since college, but every man felt hollow, lacking Marcus' humor, his way of making me feel central in the world. I achieved every career goal: senior analyst, vice president, a corner office with a Central Park view. None of it filled the hole left by losing the only person who'd ever loved me unconditionally. The night before the wedding, I booked a flight to Los Angeles, imagining a dramatic, cinematic moment running down the beach, telling him I'd been wrong, that love mattered more than ambition. But at LAX, I couldn't rent a car or drive to the venue. I sat in the airport bar, wine in hand, watching the live stream on Elena's sister's Instagram. Marcus looked happier than ever. Interrupting the wedding would have been cruel beyond belief. Now I'm back in my expensive apartment, surrounded by every material success I thought I wanted, crying over a man I let go because I was too proud, too scared, too obsessed with ambition to admit that love sometimes matters more. Marcus isn't calling. He won't send flowers, plan visits, or wait for me. The hardest part? This isn't a movie. There's no grand gesture that can fix it. He's moved on, and Elena wakes up beside him, the man who once promised me forever. I thought he'd always wait, because he said he would. I never consider that promises expire when the person being waited for keeps choosing everything else first. I'm 32, successful beyond my wildest dreams, and utterly alone because I convinced myself love would always be there when I was ready for it. Marcus is someone else's husband now, and I can't stop crying because I finally understand. The life I thought I was building was just a way to run from the only thing that ever truly mattered.